The Bible this morning? Raise your hand. Okay, just raise your hand. I think you might take get your Bible. Raise your hands again and raise the Bible from here. Go ahead and turn to John 21. John chapter 21. And we're going to have our Deacon Monty to come on up here. He'll be teaching the word this morning, so come on and give him a hand praise. Yeah.
Good morning. Our lesson will be coming out of John 21, starting at the 15th verse. John 21, starting at verse 15. And our golden text this morning, it reads, Jesus said unto Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. And before we get into the lesson, can anybody tell me anything about Simon? Oh, the subject of the day is follow me. And we're supposed to read John 21, 15 through 25. We'll just get right into it. Somebody read the first 3 verses.
Bring us in on, because this is a continuation from last week's lesson. So catch us up today because we didn't really get through last week. Okay. So bring us up to now. So they can understand
that. Through continuation from last week. The continuation is where Jesus has showed himself to his disciples again at the Sea of Tiberias. And he was on the shore and they was out fishing and they couldn't catch anything. And so Jesus was standing on the shore and Peter came to Jesus upon the shore. Wow, so that. All right, so somebody read.
Jesus showed himself on the shore, and I guess as those Jesus were, Peter started to go fishing. Now, see, went fishing, and they caught nothing, and then Jesus was on the shore, and from a distance, and everything, they didn't recognize him. Either he was too far or I was blinded, but either way, and Jesus had to cast their nets back down the right side, and that's what they caught a multitude of fish. And when they come back to shore, Jesus had already had the breakfast prepared.
That's it. We're gonna give God a hand praise.
All right. So now we get can somebody read, let's do 15 and 16.
I'll read it. Oh, yeah.
So when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon
To the
Peter,
mic.
excuse me?
Talking to the mic.
I am.
No.
There you go.
There you go. Try again. Go ahead, try again. Try it again.
I'm an ignorant.
No.
I just said.
Just hold it close.
Yes, you are.
Okay,
There you go.
verse number 15. So when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. 16. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. So what do you want me to do? You want me to say something on that?
If you want to expound.
Yes, sir. I don't know, I really don't know why Jesus asked him that. Because I know Jesus, if God knows, he knows everything. So he knew that Simon Peter loved him. But maybe he was testing Simon Peter to see what Simon Peter would say. That's the only thing I can figure on this. There may be another reason why he said that, why he asked him that. But that he said that 15 and 16, and he reminded him to feed my sheep. He wanted him to be sure that when they were alone, well, after Jesus left them, he wanted Simon to know, and with the other disciples too, that was their most important duty, was to feed the sheep, that they were hungry for the word. And I think that's all I have on that.
That's all. You got a hand up.
Oh.
Kathy first, then.
All right, got it.
What I thought was that he asked him 3 different times, and exposed, but he asked him 3 different times. Because Peter had denied him 3 different times after the crucifixion. And Jesus asked him 3 different times, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? As a reminder that he had, denied him, but also now, do you love me 3 times to coincide with that. But, sometimes God just wants to hear us say it. He wants to hear us tell him that we love him without him constantly reminding us or asking us. But for us to just go out, Lord, we love you. We love you. We love you. And also, in my notes, it says that it was a reminder to the other disciples of Peter's restoration. I'm not sure if that's it, but that's what I got. Oh no, but that's what I got.
That was first Mark, then this Mark. Mark had his hand up, then this Mark.
I believe in essence Jesus is telling Simon Peter to love them as I have loved you. And also, he says, do you love me? And he's just telling Simon Peter, you know, that, well, if love them as much as I love you, and to do the works that I do, you know, if you love me, then you do my work, and spiritually feed them as well as loving your brother and sister as I have loved you. And that's what I get at.
That was basically, I was going to say what Kathy was saying, you know, he did deny him 3 times. And so it was a way of rectifying things, you know, and of course, feeding his sheep. You know, he's a school as sending dad, and so he wants to know that Peter is going to feed the sheep, be a shepherd, and feed his sheep.
Another thing that I got, you know, Jesus didn't call him by Peter, he called him by Simon, and son of Peter, and Simon, son of Jonas, is given name. Because Peter means rock.
The thing that stood out to me and that I wanted to touch on was the fact of the one God asking Peter, does he love him? You know, we know that everything that God does, he does it with purpose. And that God knows the heart of us before, you know, anything else. Is that, you know, in this here, right here, God knew that Peter loved him. But sometimes, amen, it's for us to see, you know, within ourselves, do we really love how we say we love, or, you know, are we going to do what we say we're really going to do? But in this is also that God was also, even with the feed the sheep part, God was also preparing Peter for what's to come concerning his ministry that he was getting ready to step into. So, you know that, you know, with that being said, is that you can't do that if, you know, you're not putting God first. So that was the thing there, is that, you know, you got to love me first. You know, you got to love me more than anything else. And anything else gets put to the side. And I come first. So, you know, that's what stood out to me in regards to these first 2 scriptures there.
You know, and a couple of things that stood out to me.
You got a hand up, Nigel.
Oh, I
Yeah.
give him the mic.
Here you go, man. What I've noticed throughout the Bible, God came down as a lamb for us to shed his blood. Then they used the lamb's blood over the pillars for the Passover. And then he asked Simon, Peter, to feed the sheep and the lambs, which is his children. And see, the sheep and the lamb are considered more likely as being more holier of all the creations that he ever created. And he said, well, feed them the knowledge of his coming and the scriptures and whatever to teach them to live life.
Good job, Martin. A couple of things that stood out for me. You know, after all of it transpired, they were sitting down and they was eating. And Jesus posed a question, and he used him by his surname. And I mean, you know that when your mom calls you by your full name, it's an attention grabber. It's time to pay attention. He asked him, "Lovest thou more than these?" And who was these? You know, you can look at it as, you know, they were sitting there eating fish. Do you love me more than the fish? Or do you love me more than these, meaning these disciples, this profession? Do you love me more than what it is that you're doing? Are you willing to sacrifice everything that you have right now to say that you truly love me? And to me, Simon Peter took, well, you know that I love you. You know that's almost like, to me, the easy way out. You know that I love you. You know all things. You know that I love you. But sometimes, you know, our our words have to match up with our actions. Say, you know, God, I love you beyond this, I love you beyond that, I love you beyond everything that I have or about to have or going through. I love you more than these things. Is that okay, Tom?
Yeah, and I want to add too with the feeding I know we talking about, love, because the Lord already knows whether we love him or not.
Amen.
Because he's going to, like you said, he's going to see it in our act. It's more than just to say, Lord, I love you, Lord, I love you. But he's looking for that sacrifice of love. And that sacrifice is, doing those things that, you may not want to do, but you're going to do it. You may not feel like doing it, but because you love him, and just with us, because you love somebody, you're going to do it anyway. It might be, it might be giving all you got. You may have your money set aside for something else, but the ministry's in lack or something. That shows your love for God and the love for your what? For your ministry. So he's looking for that love. And also when he says, feed my lambs, that's what, when you look at Jesus being with the disciples all this time, that's what they stood with him as he taught them. And that's what he did. He fed the lambs. He fed those souls. And he was the shepherd over those flocks. So he's telling Peter, now Peter, if you love me, this is what you got to do. And we don't just get this word to sit down on it and keep it to ourselves, but because of love, we're going to what? Take it and give it to somebody else, because why? We've been taught. Now we're going to go out and teach somebody else. We're going to go out and give somebody else truth, because why? We love them enough to where we don't want their souls to be lost. Is that right? So that's what I looked at when he was telling me, if you love me, he said it this time, this is 2 times he said it. If you love me, this is what you need to do. Feed my, because he's got all, Peter has it. He's got the word. And a lot of us, we have the word. But it's what are we doing? Do we have enough love to go out and witness? Do we have enough love to go out and give somebody else, the word? But that's what that love is, a sacrifice. And that sacrifice is what? Acknowledging who God is. Is that right? And expressing that through our what? Obedience.
Not only that, but you love God, but you don't want to get in your word. You love God, but you don't want to study. And it's all right to, you can mimic somebody else by what they say, memorize what other people say or preachers say. But you got to get it. That's it. You got to get it for yourself. You got to get in the word for yourself. If you can get anything else outside of God, then you got to question, okay, God, where am I? And that's what God was saying. Feed my sheep. You can't give something that you don't have. And everybody trying to give something and then when they try to give something they don't have, they get stuck. Because what? I can only mimic for so much. And if I'm not in the word and I'm not studying God's word and getting the right understanding, then the enemy is going to conquer me. I'm not going to conquer him. So if I love him, I'm going to get in his word to want to get it out correctly.
Let us read 17. Who wants to take on 17?
It reads, He said unto him the 3rd time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? And Peter was grieved because he said unto him the 3rd time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus said unto him, feed my sheep. And sometimes, God will, ask you things over and over and over again. And this is just a continuation just from verses 15 through 16. Is that, again, God knew the heart of Peter. He knew that Peter loved him. But sometimes, again, it's for us to know and see, okay. And also sometimes what God does is allow us to do that by putting things in order. That, listen, I come first. When you put me first, then everything else will fall into place. And again, like I said before, this was all preparation ground for what Peter was getting ready to do and what he was getting ready to go through. But God was letting him know, listen, you got to put me first. And by putting me first, you got to feed my sheep. You got to give them the word. You got to do as I did. As the title of the lesson says, follow me. You got to be an example to others as well, just as we are today. We're not exempt from this. you know, we're in the Word, so we got to what? Feed His sheep, and that's just what I wanted to say from there.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else have anything? You know, also with this, you know, Jesus posed a question to him 3 times, you know, and if you go back and you look at Peter denied Jesus 3 times. It was almost like he was wanting to hear, you know, the confirmation that he loved him, you know, and you know, even on the 3rd time, you know, Jesus said the cock shall not crow until you denied me the 3rd time, and also that also brings forth what Jesus had said, you know, brings that. Would you call that a prophecy that Jesus said, you know, these things will not happen until this happens? So would that be a prophecy?
No, that's a word.
That is a word.
Yeah, prophecies only come through the message of God through us. But when Jesus talked, it's not a prophecy. So everybody know that. So when Jesus says something in his word, it's not a prophecy. But what was prophesied about him in Isaiah, that's a prophecy. Because God speaks to the individual to bring forth a message that will come to pass. But anytime Jesus speaks, it's never prophecy. It's what it is, and that he's speaking what's going to happen. He is. That's it.
I said because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh.
Yeah.
Just Jesus.
All right, let's do 18 and 19.
Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest where thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said unto him, Follow me. Now that Peter's future fellowship had been restored, and Jesus was telling Peter that when he was young, that he was able to dress himself to go wherever he wanted to go. So when he gets old, that someone else would dress him and carry him where he didn't want to go. And stretched out hands could mean that he was bound to requiring someone else to dress him before he was laid to be executed. Because Peter was crucified upside down because he felt that he was unworthy to be crucified the way Jesus was.
Awesome. Last one. You guys have anything to say on this? And I thought that was, you know, when Jesus said verily, verily, once again, that's a way of him to getting his attention, and he's drawing him to, you know, as a child, the things that we take for granted, whether it's the movement of our arms or movement of our legs, we're able to go and come and do whatever it is that we choose to do at a younger age. But there comes a point to where we're going to need help. We're going to need someone to help us, and you know, and even through this walk, you know, it comes a point to where we need to lean and depend on God even more, because we know that God's the one that's going to, when we stretch forth our hand, we know that God's going to be able to carry us on through our old age. Anybody else? Anything?
What I see up here, I want to ask the question. What I see up here, I want to ask the question, brother teacher. This faith he signified by what death he should glorify God. What does that mean to you? This faith he signified by what death he should glorify God. And when he spoke this, he said something important. So, what is God saying? Let the teacher, I want the teacher first. Because it is first, I want him to.
You know, what that says to me is, we understand that how, you know, Jesus gave the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate death, the way that he did it, opened the door for many, many people to follow. And Peter was just asking him, what death can I give you to glorify? And so to me, by him being crucified upside down was that death.
Oh, you're looking at me?
I thought you were.
I'm somewhere else. Say that one more time. I'm somewhere. So you saying that it's about Peter because you read it from the note? Or are you saying, okay, are you saying Peter is saying this concerning him being crucified upside down?
Yes.
You saying that Jesus saying that concerning him crucified upside down? So now your notes, you read from your notes, have confessed his Lord to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Who can help him out? Oh, go ahead.
He was the king, he had let him know, the death that he was going to die, and to glorify God would be the way I thought it would be to die and the crucifixion the way Christ did would be to glorify God. But where he thought he felt unworthy to be glorified by God because of his denial, he chose to be crucified upside down.
I know. I know you're going by your notes, but I mean when it goes here in the 19th, when he says that late tradition suggests that Peter was crucified upside down. What you going to say? You're saying by the death of Jesus Christ.
Crucifixion. Yeah. The upside down part was just the crucifixion itself.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with the way he was crucified. But I think it has a lot to do with he's letting him know that, with this walk with him and the things you're going to do, the teaching and the feeding his flock, that he's also going to be crucified for the name of the Lord. He's letting him know that, but he's letting him know, you're going to be of age. Right, but he said, but because like Paul says that, I'd rather glory in God, so that, and glory in my infirmities and in distress and in persecution, because God says his grace is sufficient for us. So he said, because through that he gives us what? Strength. So Paul says, well, I'd rather glory in my infirmity so that your power and your strength can rest upon me. So I believe this is what he was referring to, because he's letting them know, yeah, you're going to be crucified for my sake too, but it's going to be all for the glory of God.
Exactly. So it has nothing to do, like she said, with the upside down of him being crucified, because Peter didn't want his upside down, like you were saying when you was texting him, is to find out was he really crucified upside down because he didn't want to be crucified like Jesus Christ. And the resemblance of it, and that was correct. But this here has no signification of that, no matter what your note says. So we don't want to go by you reading up the notes, but we want to go by you to understand that God is letting them know, like your other teacher says here, and what you were saying, that this is through his glory, that you're going to be going through the same thing I've gone through, but it's all for my glory. So I don't care what you go through, don't look at poor me. Look at this is all for the glory. As long as I'm being crucified for the right reason. As Paul says, better to suffer for the right than for the what? Wrong. Don't for the wrong. So even though you might be crucified and God was letting them know, yeah, you're going to go through. But you got to remember that this is all for my glory, not for what you're doing, but for my glory. What you going to say something?
I was just going to say too,
I was looking at it too as like, how far are you willing to follow me? serve me, I'm telling you, even unto death. It will glorify me, but are you willing to serve me in that way, in that manner, that you will die doing this?
Exactly.
That's how I was looking at it too.
And that's true. And you know what, also too, you know what, when you put yourself as a Christian and loving God, you can't stay in your house and say, you know what, God, you have to be in the churches. You have to be one to say, look, I'm getting out there and let people know about Jesus Christ. Because sitting at home, you know, and saying I'm a private Christian, I'm sorry, that ain't gonna work if you're trying to make it to the kingdom of heaven. Come on, you don't have no private Christians. Definitely no private agents. Come on. Go ahead.
Also, would it not be like that he would to die to his own desires, like his own things that what he wanted?
What you mean?
Like how we how we glorify God by, you know, denying our own lust and our own, you know, how we died to sin.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about what Paul says,
Yeah.
when one died of themselves,
Right.
to themselves, right? That means, are you asking
Yeah,
a question?
can it mean like where he's also asking him like to that he would have to die to his own lust and desires of
No.
Okay.
No, he's not asking him nothing. He's actually stating.
I mean, he's stating it.
Yeah, but yeah, he's not telling him to because Peter didn't have a problem with lust and all that.
Okay.
So, but he's signifying his natural death. With Peter them and the 12 disciples, it wasn't like Paul of today, of talking about our spiritual walk. They had Jesus with them right there, naturally. So this is something naturally that they would have to do, especially in the Roman province and what they was facing in those days. It was a natural death. So it was nothing, you know, dying out of themselves spiritually, like, you know, which they had to do, get rid of tempers, you know,
that was
and
what I
anger
mean,
and
like
stuff
those
like
things.
that. Yeah. But what God was actually telling him was a natural thing that would happen. But now, you know, in that he was telling them, be strong. You know, but you're gonna have to do this. He said, they hate me, you know, and they're gonna hate you because of me. You see that? So in that is that God let us know in this time is that it's a lot of dying ourselves because he knows the messages that was going to come in these days and time was going to be a watered down message that would take away the severity of one dying out of themselves and allowing Christ to be in the forefront, you know. And then he knew that it was going to be more talk of a motivational thing of changing your mind rather than the Holy Ghost being preached anymore. Go ahead, Brother Holt.
Pastor, I've got a strange question.
That's all right.
And,
Stranger the better.
you know, I feel like I'm not, I have, through the years, I've developed a pretty good relationship with Holy God, I think.
Yes.
And I should know better than to ask this question, really. But I don't understand. I don't understand. Why is it impressed throughout the Holy Bible, especially in the New Testament, that God wants himself to be glorified? And why do we glorify him? I know he's God, and I know he's the highest than anything. But why is glorification so important?
Well, number one, that's not a strange question whatsoever. But now, the reason why is because all honor, that's just like the President of the United States of America. You take the President of the United States of America. When he steps into any room or where he goes, is what? He's honored. And honor is not a low esteem. It's a high esteem for kings, for priests, for royalty. It's a high esteem. So who is the highest of all? It's God, the creator of all. Right. And he made us, or created us, in his image to glorify him. So that's why he can cause us to glorify our kids or to be glorified. But that we give him glory because he is God, the creator of all things. So that's why.
And he is so great. He's the great I am.
The great I am that I am. Who's going to say something?
Thank you.
Oh, you know.
All right, who wants to read 20 and 21?
Then Peter turned about, seeing the disciples, whom Jesus loved following, which also leaned on his breast at supper. Am I reading right? Yeah. Okay. At supper and said, Lord, which is he that betrayed thee? Peter, seeing him said, to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? And when I was looking at this, I was trying to get a real understanding of the event that's going on right here in this. And you know, right here in 21, we see, then Peter turned about, seeing the disciples whom Jesus loved following. Peter was recognizing all the disciples that had been following Jesus, that had been going along with Jesus. And, you know, he turned and looked at them, and as he turned and looked at them, he which also leaned on his breast at supper. I mean, he turned and leaned on Jesus' breast, and at this point, and said, Lord, which is that betrayed thee? He's asking a question. He's asking about a question. And I'm trying to get an understanding, and I really didn't get a full understanding of this particular verse. So if anyone can help me, I appreciate it. I didn't really get a full understanding of it. What was being transcribed in this report.
What I got out of this particular scripture was this. So it's like a child, okay? That's how I'm getting it. I'm signifying him laying on the breast. If you have children, you know how when they're about to get in trouble and they'll lay on you like, Mama, did I do something wrong? And instead of saying, did I do something wrong? Mama, is everything okay? To me, Peter is one trying to get Jesus to tell him what's about to happen. But two, how I'm looking at it is that Peter is in a sense trying to kind of butter up in a sense, like, Jesus, can you just tell me what's about to happen? And tell me if I'm wrong. But then, and then saying, well, tell me which one of us is going to get in trouble, in a sense, or which one of us is going to sin against you. Not to say that not to say that he had a heart to do so, but do you get what I'm saying? What children will do, they'll say, God, is everything all right, even though they're really asking, am I the one that's going to sin against you? Am I the one that's going to hurt you, without asking that specific direct question?
I'm going to ask you, teacher, if you can bring out whom it is that's asking the question, whom it is that's he's laying on his chest, breast.
Who was that?
Yeah, okay. You said.
Oh, I said Jesus.
No, you said Peter.
Oh,
you said
I
Peter.
Hold on, give me a second. Peter turned.
Awesome job.
That's okay. And then Peter turning about, see it, the disciple whom Jesus loved. That's John. Following which, and I said, okay, got it. I'm sorry, I was talking to Peter. My apologies. Everything else. Yeah. Sorry, so I'm sorry, so to correct myself, my apologies.
So Peter was looking at John and asking Jesus, who's going to get in trouble?
That's what it meant.
No, Peter was what?
Looking at John and asking God.
This John was asking Jesus. This took place at the supper. This right here is not the time at the supper. This took place at the supper. John leaned on Jesus' breast and asked, who's going to betray? Who is it that's going to betray him?
So you read it as then Peter turning about. So that means he was somewhere in the turn about to see John laying on the breast of him.
Got it. Okay. But was I writing the rest of which stating?
him, basically asking him, basically, what does that got to do with you?
Yeah.
Right.
But you should have put 22 with that.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead and read 22, so I should have put 22
So do you
and 22.
want to do it, because since Pastor already did it, you just put them all together?
Can you separate 22?
Do you want?
That way the answer.
Okay, so-
Read again.
And number 21 and 22, Jesus said unto him, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? Follow thou thy me. He's amazing. So basically what Pastor Ty was saying was, basically Jesus is responding, none of your business. None of your business. Don't ask me who's going to get in trouble. You could get in trouble. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Margaret?
I have a question. In different times during the, Jesus always speaks about John. John, whom Jesus loved. But he loved them all, though.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he loved them all.
But he always speaks of John, whom Jesus loved.
Are we talking about Jesus and faith,
What time
So what was the question? Why did Jesus favor John?
She said that Jesus always speaks about John, even though he loved the other disciples. Why he always speaks about John?
Well, I think that's a pretty easy question. I let our teacher, one of them, that's a pretty easy question. Why do you feel that Jesus loved?
Well, who was John to Jesus? So why would he love his John? Right, his half brother. But you get what I'm saying, like it's still.
Yeah. So just, even though you haven't gotten them, just say what you feel.
Well, I mean, that the natural love is there, being he's a brother, but he was, I would say that he was a companion.
And he was one of the first disciples. So I mean, he followed Jesus. So I mean, if you think about the bond we have naturally as well as spiritually, that makes sense for him to speak of John.
He always got, it's not about how much you love them.
Right.
But what is it that, how much you know the Bible says.
Right.
And how much you cling to it. So that's why you find them on the chest. That's why I say it's a pretty easy question. So, how much you, and so you can have people, you can have people, I had people in my mission that would do anything for me, but I know they love me like certain ones. So that is, it's just some that would cling and they would take everything that you have, believe on everything. And you have some that say, oh yeah, I love you, but, so you have those ones that that truly love you and that, cling to the God of you, but not cling to your flesh. But John was the type that he believed who God was. He believed it. And he came to it. So that's why you find him on his chest. As to say, God, I love you so much. I don't want you to. I don't want you to work. So that's why he had like Peter the Rock. So you had certain ones had their, in which Judas, the traitor. So you had certain ones that he had his names for. So John is because he came to him every bit of it. So that's what that was. So to that make an understanding, do that make everybody
time for our reviews.
Awesome job.
He's being pushed to the next level of his deaconship. And that is requiring teaching. Come get by prayer. So he's got to be pushed to that next level of really studying beyond what hurts. Dig it in. So come on, give our brother.